The Mensa family live near a forest with their children. The land they live on and live off has been in the family for generations before them, and they will pass it on to their children. Mr. Mensa hunts in the forest and Mrs. Mensa grows yams while the kids help by collecting fruits, nuts and caterpillars in the forest. One day, a timber company arrives in the forest where the Mensa family are collecting forest products and starts felling the trees. The company has a document signed by the government giving it permission to cut down the trees. On which ground? They say it is the law. Then in the forest where Mr. Mensa hunts, people in uniforms come to inform him that the forest has become a national park and that he cannot enter the forest anymore. They say it is the law. They're now stuck between a concession and a national park. They say it is the law. Does the law also protect the Mensa family? The law contains the rules which allow our society to exist. It is written by chosen representatives and creates rights and duties for all. It also forbids things in the name of the common good. For the law to be just and fair, it has to be able to address people's needs. There are several types of rights which are particularly relevant for people in the same situation as the Mensa family. On the one hand, substantive rights like ownership, economic and customary use rights, and the right to benefit sharing in the context of forest exploitation. Back to the Mensa family. They need the law to recognize their ownership of the land they've been living on for generations. They also need their use rights to be recognized. Thanks to them, they can enter the forest and collect fuel wood, fruits, honey and medicinal plants or access sacred groves. If any of those rights is restricted, they should be compensated for it. After all, their livelihoods depend on them. What is taken away in terms of resources should be given back in terms of opportunities while making sure that the Mensa family are able to maintain their lifestyle. If someone else exploits resources on their land, it would be fair that the Mensa family have share of the benefits from that exploitation. Benefits are not restricted to money. They can also come as employment opportunities and infrastructures. On the other hand, there are also procedural rights. Those are the rights which protect the other rights. They are, for example, the right to access information, the right to participate and access to justice. The Mensa family and the other members of their community should have the right to know the law and to be informed of the decisions made regarding the forest, especially if they impact their lives. For decisions to be fair, it would be good if Mr. and Mrs. Mensa were consulted. Indeed, Mr. and Mrs. Mensa's needs will be taken into account more if they are involved in the creation and the reform of the laws. If their rights are not respected, Mr. and Mrs. Mensa should have the possibility of bringing their case to court. It is important that information, participation and justice are accessible in terms of costs, procedure, distance and language. What does the law say about your rights? It matters to you too. In your country, the law is being reformed. Make your voice heard and be one of the agents of change. Know your rights and ask for all the information you need. Share your story. Speak out if someone has violated your rights. Meet your local representatives. Engage with civil society organizations.